Hi everyone, and welcome back to week 3 of Guitar for Beginners. I hope you all had an amazing week, and today we're going to do some blues. So far we've done a few basic open chords, we've done some strumming, we did some scales. So today we're going to be practicing something called 12-bar blues. And 12-bar blues is a chord progression that lasts for 12 bars, and it can repeat multiple times for sure. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn the first chord we will be playing in that progression. And this chord is called the dyad, meaning there's only 2 notes in that chord. So the entire time here today we'll be playing dyads up until the very ending. So first chord we're going to do is called an E5 or an E power chord. And for this one here, we just need one finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. And we will be playing that note, the note B, with the top string as well, so with our note E as well. So this is an E and a B, okay? So when we're playing that, that's what that would sound like. So with our pick, we're strumming both of those strings, right? Make sure that you're not hitting the rest of the strings, right? Just focusing on those top 2. You can do a couple fun things too if you like. You can use your first finger, kind of the rest of your finger, not the tip of it, to slightly mute the rest of the strings, all of the bottom strings, just so that in case you do hit them, you don't really hear much of them as well. So that you could do as well if you want to keep things simple. For now though, just put it on the A string and then just strum the top 2 strings. And right away we're going to do a rhythm called a shuffle. And a shuffle is based on triplets. So in a triplet there's 3 notes of equal value. So a lot of the times we'll count them as triplet, 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 triplet. There's lots of different ways to count them too. So whatever you prefer works. Sometimes you could say, for example, I like to say 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. That way I hear what those, where those triplet notes fit, which beat we're on. And then you can also do a word like radio, 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 anything like that with 3 syllables. So what happens in a shuffle rhythm is we are not going to be playing on every single note. So we're not going to go triplet, 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 triplet. Though we could do that as well, but in a shuffle we are going to skip through that 2nd note of the triplet. So we're playing on trip, and then we're playing on the very last note as well. So it's triplet, triplet, triplet. So it's triplet would be one of those beats there. So it's triplet. And when we put that together, if we play 4 of those, it would be triplet, 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 triplet. And now you notice it becomes that shuffle. Now you can definitely, if you were counting radio, if you're saying radio, that would be on Ray and the O. Radio, 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 just like that. So whatever works best for you, go with that. So to start us off, we need to know how long is a measure. And in this case, we are going to be playing in a 4/4 time signature, meaning there's 4 beats in one measure, and each quarter note receives 1 beat. So that means one measure would be those 4 beats. So if I'm counting with, for example, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, that would be 1 measure. What happens is we need to play 4 of those measures at the beginning of that 12-bar progression. So the first 4 out of the 12 are that E power chord. So we're playing 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 2 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 3 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 4 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. And it is slow, and it's actually nice, as you're beginning to play that, just to go really slow. It's like a nice slow blues. So yeah, just keep it really slow like that, and notice, I'm going through 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4. Just again to keep track of those bars, and also to make sure there's 4 beats in each bar. So that's what we're going to do at the start. So it's again, and I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. I'm going to go 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, 2, 3, 4. So another thing that you do want to do as well is accent the beat. So meaning the 1, 2, 3, and the 4. So the let is not as accented as the 1 and every quarter note is. So it's 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. Meaning you're kind of leaning into that quarter note, right? 1, let 2, let 3, let 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3. So this is the kind of rhythm that we're going to be playing in blues. Though there are a lot of different ways to play, you know, various rhythms there. This is one of the key ones. So then something fun we could also do is to move around that power chord a little bit and play some 6s and 7s as well. So meaning, and this is something you probably have heard before. I'm going to play it first. That's a really common progression there that we could do as well. In case you want to add that next layer, you would start with the power chord, so with our E5, and then you would move on to the E6. So this is where we would actually add our third finger to our chord. We don't need the first finger, but I recommend you keep it there just because you're going to go back as well. So you are ascending and you're descending on that A string. So basically you're starting with the note B, then you're going to a C sharp, and then you're going to a D right there. Okay, so it's B, C sharp, D. So I'm using fingers 1 on that 2nd fret, finger 3 on the 4th fret, and finger 4 on the 5th fret. So now if you put that together, it would sound like this. If I just do a simple quarter note, I would start with that E5, E6, E7, and then you would go back to the E6. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Okay. So now this would take one of our patterns here, would take 1 measure, because that is equal to 4th beats. So if we play that, this would be now 1, 2, 3, 4, and that I is the let. So I'm going to say let just so that it's really clear. So 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let. And that was 1 bar now. So instead of just sitting there on that same chord, which you totally could do, right? This is a great start. You can add those other diads in there. So instead of going 1, 2, let 3, let 4, now you go 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 1. So there it is. So if we want to play 4 of those measures, again, we would count through 4 of those patterns. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So whatever is comfortable for you right now at your level, just go with that, right? Again, you can just stick to that E power chord, or you can move it around. So this was our first 4 measures of the 12 bar blues. So now for the next 2 measures, so for the measure 5 and 6, we're going to go to a different chord. And this chord here is going to be an A. And this is going to be an A power chord as well. So when I say a power chord, really that means, you know, the only notes that we're playing, that diad, is a root note and a perfect fifth. So for example, in that E power chord, we did the note E and the note B at the same time, which is a root note and that perfect fifth. So in A now, we have an A and a D as well, or an E as well. So this is A and E. So now we need to just move our first finger from our A string, 2nd fret, to the 2nd fret of the D string. And now we are going to be only playing the notes A and the E. So now we're not touching that low E string. So now when you're strumming, just focus on those 2 strings, just the A and the D. And we do the exact same thing. So we can choose to play those 2 bars with just sitting on that A power chord. 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 2, let 2, let 3, let 4, let. Or we can again move that around the exact same way we did that with the E as well. So we would go from the A to the A6, A7, A6. So you notice it sounds exactly the same, but it's starting on a different, basically the starting point is different, right? Now it's an A. So if we do 2 bars of that, that's only 2 patterns. We would do 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, let 2, let 2, let 3, all together now. So we're going to go back to the start of our 12 bar blues. We're going to start with that E. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go to the A. 1, 2. So now that we've gotten through the first 6 bars of the 12 bar blues, we are actually going to go back to the original chord. So we're going to go back to the E. So far we played 4 measures on the E, 2 measures on the A, and now we're going to be back for 2 more measures on the E. So as soon as you play that A twice, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, go back to the E, 3, 4, and second time, 3, 4. So again, now we have 4 measures of the E, 2 of the A, and 2 back to the E. And I'll make sure to post the page as well for you guys so that you can follow along. I think it'll make a lot of sense, you know, watching the video while having that sheet in front of you so you could really put things together. So this is now the final 4 bars of this progression. So at this point, we are going to switch again. So so far we played the E and the A. Now we're going to do a B. And the entire progression really only has those 3 chords, E being our first chord, A being the 4th, and now B being that 5th. So this is the 1, 4, 5. You will hear that quite a bit in terminology. So for the B power chord, this one is going to be a little bit more challenging. So it definitely has a slightly bigger stretch there. And we will need to hold 2 fingers there at the same time as well. So for the B, we already know that the note B is on that 2nd fret of the A string. So now we're going to put our first finger there, and it technically will be there before because we are playing our E power chord right before. So there it would be already. So you will not need to lift that finger up. And then you will add your 3rd finger to the 4th fret of your D string right here. Okay, so this is going to be really important to do that, to make sure that it's right on that note. So 4th fret of the D string right here. This is our F sharp. So we have a B and an F sharp played at the same time. So again, we are not going to touch the low E string. We're only going to play those 2 notes. So make sure to strum just those 2 notes. So the difference here though is on this B chord, we're going to sit only for 1 measure. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're done. Now, if you want to make it extra challenging as well, and if you want to move that around as well, we could do it this way. So we could leave that first finger there, but instead stretch out our 2nd finger and put that on the 4th fret where our 3rd finger used to be. So now this is a longer stretch though, definitely. So this might be a little bit tricky at this point, but try it, you know, see how that goes. So we got the first finger on the 2 of the A, 2nd finger on the 4 of the D, and now we could stretch that 4th finger to the 6th fret of that D string as well. So we would go back and forth between the 4th and the 6th fret. So I'm going to show you what that would sound like. Yeah, and it's definitely going to be all in the position of your hand. So you will not be able to do that if your thumb is like sitting comfortably at the top. It's just going to be a tough stretch if you don't have, you know, really long fingers either. So I don't, so I definitely have to make sure I sit in this proper position like that. So again, now we would play 1, 2, 3, 4, and keep moving. So this is an option, or if you want to just keep things simple, just use your 1st and 3rd finger and just stay there for the entire measure like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is our B. So as soon as we play B, we go back to the A. So this was the open A string, and now first finger on the D string. We do 1 measure of that as well. Go back to that same pattern you've done, or stay on this, it's up to you. 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and now make sure to play both ways at the end so that you could pick one or the other. And at this point, then we're going to go back to the E, to the original chord. So E, 2, 3, 4, and that was the 11th measure. So we just have 1 more left. So if we go back to the B, to the new one, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, and this is where you can end things in a lot of fun ways. I'm just going to give you a nice simple E7th chord. That's it. So for this one here, it's really similar to the E power chord, but we're going to need another finger there as well. So we're going to put our second finger now on that second fret of the A string. And the first finger now is going to go on the G string on the first fret. So you want those both of those fingers to be pressing at the same time. And for this one here, this open chord, meaning that we're using those open strings too, we can play all the strings. So this is a way to end it. So again, we got the first finger on the first fret of the G, on the note G sharp right here. The second finger is going to be on the second fret of the B string, or of the A string on the note B, and everything else is open. So just make sure you check through each note of the chord to make sure it sounds good. If there's some buzzing, that's totally normal at the start, you already know. So just stick to it and keep practicing and it'll be all good. So if we put the last 4 measures of this chord progression together, we're going to start on the B, we're going to go to the A, we're going to go back to the E power chord, and for the last measure, let's just hold that E7th for 4 beats. So here it is. I'm going to show you what that sounds like. So we're going back to the B. 1, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, and E7th. Okay. So again, this would be really awesome if we could get to that E7th right on that first beat of the last measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, like that, and then just hold that for those 4 beats. So it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you can go back to the start of that entire 12-bar blues. So now let's recap this really quickly. I'm gonna again kind of go through all of our measures, and then we will put that all together. So again, we're starting on our E. We're playing 4 measures. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to go to the A. Same exact pattern, but on the A and the D string. 2 measures. 1, 2. Then we go back to the E for 2 more measures. 1, 2. So far it was 4, 2, 2, that's 8. And then again, those last 4 bars, I'm going to do that with that big stretch right now. So once on the B, 1 measure on the A, 1 as well. Then back to the E, 1 measure of E. And right here, we're going back for that E7th. Now, it's up to you if you want to do that. I just feel like it sounds quite pleasant at the end. But if you want to just keep strumming through that E power chord, that totally works as well. So instead of going to the E7th, you could just sit on that E twice. So it would be 1, 2, and then you're done. That's a way to do that as well. So play around with that, right? I just think this might be sounding quite nice at the end. So the first time around, I'm going to do that without moving my fingers back and forth. So I'm just going to stick to the really, really simple power chords. And this is a great way to start. It's a great way to jam with one another as well. Whether you're playing with another guitar player, whether with a drummer, with a bass guitar player, it really doesn't matter, keyboard player. So we have, again, for the E, first finger on that A string on the B, on the note B. So here we go. We're not going to move things around this time. We're sitting on the E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get ready for the A. 1, 2. Back to E. 1, 2. Now we're going to our B. 1 to the A. 1 to the E. 1. That's up to you. Again, you could just sit there for 2 measures instead of going to a different E there. So that was the more simple way to play that. Notice this just didn't need too many fingers, right? We just needed mostly the first finger and then the third finger for that B chord. So the B is the more challenging one for sure. So now let's do it the other way, where we are going from that 5th to the 6th to the 7th. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now to A. 1, 2. Back to E. 1, 2. Get ready for that big stretch on the B. 1, A, back to E. There you go. And there's the E seven at the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed practicing this blues today with me. Have some fun with it this week. Again, don't be too hard on yourself if you're not, finding that you're on time or the shuffle is challenging. Just keep practicing, keep going along with this, and yeah, it should work out really well. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video lesson, and I will see you again next week. Thanks.